Father, thank you for giving us life. Father, like we prayed last time, we just pray your grace and mercy over this country. We pray we find peace and middle ground. We thank you for this beautiful fall weather that we're having. Father, I just thank you for your son, Jesus, and I pray for everybody here, everybody listening, watching in this city, that our hearts and minds will be calmed down so that we can focus on where you want to lead this city. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Green,
Here.
Paprick,
Here.
Gibson,
Here.
Fox,
Here.
Allen, Swisher,
Here.
Brandt,
Here.
Simmons.
Here.
You want to call John's name again?
There you are. Yeah. Good. We could put this on the other side of town, would have been here. Good? Good. Good. Out of breath. Okay. Has everybody had a chance to look over the agenda for tonight? If so, I need a motion and a second. So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Approve or correct special session minutes of October 6, 2025, and regular session minutes of October 7, 2025.
Move to approve as submitted, Carol. Second, Howell.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on down to committee reports. First up, we have Property Finance, Budget, and Audit Committees, Council members Patrick and Fox.
No report, Your Honor.
Community Development and Code Committee, Council members Allen and Simmons.
No report, Your Honor. No report.
Public Relations and Public Safety Committee, Council members Swisher and Gibson.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a Marshall Police report for the month of September. Traffic stops is 160 with 60 citations and 9 arrests, 8 DWIs. Municipal Court issues 7 warrants. Officer calls for the month is 1,771. That's an average of 58 calls per day for the month of September. There was 158 police reports taken with an average of 5 police reports per day, average 30 arrests. Animal shelter numbers for September, 3 citations, 16 dogs and puppies picked up, 0 cats, 10 dogs returned to their owners, 6 were adopted. Nuisance for September, 3 open nuisance cases, 1 sign is out, 90 closed nuisance cases, 8 summons issued to people with 12 tickets issued, 106 complaints since May 21st, 2025. Public relations, the trick or treat on the square is on the 30th of October. When driving on Halloween night, slow down and watch for pedestrians. If your children are going trick or treat, make sure they have something reflective on their clothing or carry a flashlight. Trick-or-treaters should go to houses only with the front porch light on. If the house is dark, move on to the next one. Be safe and have fun. That'd be it.
Thank you, Mr. Gibson. Swisher, do you have anything?
No report.
Municipal Service and Personnel Committee, Council members Brandt and Green.
Yeah. Okay, we just had the fuel sales out at the airport through the year, and in September. I don't know if you remember, Randy, we lowered the prices on the, I think we did the jet too a little bit, but certainly the low lead earlier this year, and it looks like it's working on volume. So compared to last year, we're up about $2,300 on the Jet A, and on the 100 low lead, we're up about, what'd that be, about 1,500, 1,500. So, yeah, I think it's working to keep our prices competitive, and the pilots are looking on their app and seeing that our prices are good and stopping here and fueling up, so. I did want to ask, I don't know if it's JD or you, about the door lock at the airport. When is that going to be fixed?
Due to last, they had to order the parts for it, and they should be in this week.
Okay,
This is so they come in with.
okay. So they should be in this week if y'all didn't hear online. And then now that the season, the summer's over, the cameras, the new contract for the airport and all that seemed to work out pretty good. You're happy with that? Okay, cool. All right, that's it.
We done with ag?
Yeah, I think ag's completely gone out for now. Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Green.
Mhm.
Mr. Grant? You don't have a- Moving on, city administrators report, Mr. Sherman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've just got a couple of brief items of interest. I want to follow up with you. We've had a couple discussions about the Planning and Zoning Commission and the elected officials' position on that. I think we've got things in place and in order to go ahead and set their next meeting in November. We've got to have a minimum of 7 total per our code and per the state statute, and that includes the mayor if he chooses to serve and a single councilman appointed by the mayor. So currently, we've got 5 civilians, and we've got the mayor, and his most recent appointee was Councilman Simmons when he was a civilian, who's now filling that role as the council appointee. However, Councilman Swisher was appointed prior to that, and prior to that, Councilman Brandt was appointed. I think in the past, there was some attempt to mitigate, if the mayor wasn't going to serve or not, that a councilman would step in. However, the statute doesn't allow for that. So going forward, we're going to need the mayor and a single appointment. If the mayor and the council chooses to have Councilman Simmons remain as the appointee, then no change needs to be made. The other 2 appointments would be nullified. We've got a total of 3, maybe 4 rezone requests that may be ready for the November meeting, and the expansion of a special use permit. So we've got a number of properties, one that's going from R1 to R2, 2 that are currently in ag, which is a placeholder district in our code, 1 to light industrial and 1 to residential. These are all good proposals, and the city engineer has been helping the applicants with these. However, I had a good meeting with the chairman of Planning and Zoning last week, and we needed to have the balance of elected officials and civilians set before we set this next meeting. So assuming that there's no other changes, we're going to go ahead and set the November meeting once the chairman confirms the date with the mayor and with Councilman Simmons as the 2 council appointees. So I hope I brought a little bit of clarity to that, maybe not. I do want to mention that we had a good meeting with the HOA, the incoming HOA president out of Cotton Street, on their stormwater issue. As you recall, they've got some flooding and a number of deficiencies. There's a couple of areas that were marked on the original plat as detention basins, which have no inlets cut into them. So there's a number of things that need to be done, including cutting the inlets in and doing a little bit of earthwork. There's also a number of storm tubes sections that have separated because they weren't properly sealed at installation. All that work can be done by local forces. We are just waiting on 1 revised, what I would call like a temporary construction easement that will largely encumber that, the lot that doesn't have a building on it right now. So, and the incoming HOA president is the owner of that lot, so they understand what to expect. At the same time, we start working on these easements next week. We're also going to be working on easements for the TAP grant at Miami and College. The city attorney will perfect those, and then we'll go around and collect from the business owners that are impacted by that sidewalk project. About that same time, ESS, with the extension granted by State Emergency Management, expects to start seeking easements on the section of stormwater, the ditch, the low point behind Eastwood School that runs parallel to Eastwood over here. So in the next week or two, we're going to have a number of different areas of town where we're actively speaking with property owners and seeking easements. In case you have any questions about those, at least 2 of these use federal funding, so we've got to be careful to follow protocols set forth by the federal government, especially as it's expressed with the highways and transportation funds, and everything thus far is geared to reflect the expectations of the federal government when you're seeking easements on a project that uses federal funds. Finally, I want to mention that we had talked about some city administrator office hours in the future. Doing those prior to the meetings, we're going to adjust the website accordingly, but I thought we would make 4:30 to 5:30 on the 2 council evening nights. The appointed time, I can relocate out here to the conference room, and then that way we can accommodate walk-ins at that time. If somebody doesn't want to make an appointment or hadn't had the opportunity to make an appointment, and they just want to come by and talk. But most especially if there's questions about the agenda, hopefully we'll be able to answer those as well. And then just to follow up on your airport report, we do have a kickoff meeting with our engineers at HDR next week on the capital improvement plan for the airport. There are no federal projects going on at that airport this fiscal year, but we do have an obligation to meet with them and turn over a CIP for the upcoming years. We'll be working with Andy Bodine again, who the committee you both know. Once we have this kickoff meeting and have kind of a template, we will circulate that CIP back to the committee for your review and approval, and if you want to have any more meetings or discussion about it prior to submitting that to MoDOT. So that'll happen Tuesday of next week. So we should have something to you by the end of the week next week. Okay. And that's all I have. Happy to answer any questions that you might have this evening.
The stoplight on College Street, did we ever figure out anything on that when you're heading west down College or the turn left?
The issue with the timer, so
If you're heading east, there's the turn, and if you come down the hill, that, I know that one time it had a left turn arrow up there, but it's gone. So I think last time we spoke about, seeing about getting that put back up.
yeah, I don't have any new information on that yet, other than we have talked to the engineer about the need for that to be replaced. And then I know Randy has talked to a separate vendor in case we have to do that outside of the scope of the grant. But I don't have an update for you tonight on that. I apologize.
The airport renovations that happened earlier this year, is that all done? Have they looked at the work? I know there were some questions about pooling water on the taxiways and,
Yeah, they came back and worked on that, and I had them do some restriping because it was late last year when they striped it, so we had a year warranty on everything. So they came back and restriped, got that taken care of, and pooling, they worked on that too.
okay, I say there was a little more pooling at the end of the north, will be 1-8 headed south, but on that taxi where you turn right there, there was a pretty good pool area there. If it rains next time, you might just drive down there.
Yeah, Andy Bodine, he's supposed to be there next week, and he's gonna go out there with me, because I have some issues on the south end of the runway too, where some concrete starting to pop up. and I'm gonna
Okay.
go over too.
Okay.
We can include an update on that warranty work as well
Okay.
when we send you the information on the CIP.
Okay.
So with the adjustments that you're making in the zoning committee, how many will be on it?
I'm sorry?
The adjustments that you're making on the zoning committee, how many will be on there?
Oh, on planning and zoning?
Yeah. Will it be seven?
There will be a total of 7, 5 civilians and 2 elected officials.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted- so we-
And that is the
we can have
minimum
any-
that our code requires. We can have no more than, I believe it's 14, and no fewer than 7, yeah.
Yeah, I read 15, yeah. Okay.
Ms. Lewis, do we need to do anything with that?
Not at this time. We'll work on that and determine exactly how we're going to move forward with that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
JD. JD,
Yes.
I wanted to follow up just on behalf of some of my neighbors in Ward 2. There was a large event in our neighborhood. It was a great event. I wondered if you looked into some way to encourage events like that to happen, maybe further from residential neighborhoods.
Yes, that, I did look into that particular issue. They were not on public property. There was no permit necessary for that particular gathering. I'm going to have to talk to the city attorney about what our options are there, because we largely, without absent a mandatory permit, we don't really have any way to say that they've got to be so many hundreds feet away from, residential zoning or something like that. I understand the parking was a big issue there. I'm wondering if we may not have an option of saying that even on an event that's not permitted on private property, that parking there needs to, that if you're anticipating parking on street or parking on a residential street, that there's some notification. But via our usual event permitting, that particular event fell under that threshold being on private property, so we don't have any immediate control. When Elizabeth returns next week, I will speak with her about what options we have on private property. The other issue I wanted to follow up with on, that you had mentioned, was the possibility that the arrangement at these events is an attempt to avoid paying sales tax in the state of Missouri. That's something we can notify the Department of Revenue about, when it occurs. In the past, though, they've not been terribly responsive, and normally what we're told is that the individual retailers understand what the law is and understand that they're required to pay sales tax. I don't know that we've got any teeth locally to force them to remit. If they are found to owe sales tax, it can interfere with renewal of business licenses and things like that. But I don't know that any of those things would help in the situation that the neighbors on Black Street described to you. So that's going to have to be a work in progress.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
As far as my report, I do not have a report for tonight. So moving on, we'll go to business from the audience. It's limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Any person, resident or non-resident, wishing to address the city council may approach the microphone and state their name and comments. Is there anyone at this time that would like to speak?
What is the process for getting copies of ordinances, of the city ordinances?
He just needs to contact my office and request copies.
Okay, boy, it seems like I bother you a lot,
That's okay.
but you're the only one behind the glass most of the time.
That's okay.
Okay, excuse me, new phone and it's not cooperative. My opinion is that the police department is here, as it says on most places, police vehicles, to serve and protect. I'm concerned that a police officer came up to a woman in her mid-70s, pulling weeds, throwing them into a barrel, and told her apparently she had some on that hadn't gone in the bucket from when she was up on the hill, and told her that if she didn't have that picked up, there'd be hell to pay. Personally, we got so many things going on in this town, people speeding, running stop signs. I was going down Morrow Street a week ago tomorrow, and I'm doing 25, and a guy passed me doing at least 50. There's nobody doing anything about that. And you talk to people around town, everybody's got some type of a complaint. But you got a lady in her mid-70s pulling weeds. If you don't take care of your property, correct me if I'm wrong, sir, they can condemn your property and take it away from you if you don't take care of it. Is that not so?
No, I don't believe that we could condemn property over a property maintenance issue, but you could be ticketed for failure to
when
maintain.
I talked to Mike Morgan, and he said, yeah, they can, if you don't take care of it. And I don't know
Yeah.
what the process is, and I don't know how long that takes. But you got a lady out there, I just happen to know quite well, she's my wife. I had just had neck surgery, and I couldn't do anything. But she's obviously trying, so why bother her? You know, she's got high blood pressure, She has heart trouble. Why harass her? She's obviously doing the best she can with what she has to work with. But I just don't see that that's a patrol officer's job to harass some lady pulling weeds. And on that same vein, he told her she was getting it in the street, or there was some getting in the street. I have talked to people from the city about my neighbors blowing their grass, throwing out their tree limbs, and blowing their pine needles and pine cones into the street, onto my vehicles, and under the vehicles, and leaving it, and no one's ever said anything to them. And if you want, I can show you pictures and video, or I can come back, well, I can't, I can come back on Friday and let you see that.
I think what we could do is, I believe I've got your contact information, maybe you and I can set up a time.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, we can set up a time and we can discuss this particular case, because I don't want to make statements in general about property maintenance, and it sounds like you've got an actual specific incident. Perhaps we
Yeah.
could discuss that in more detail then.
I've got people parking the wrong way on the street, pulling up, almost touching my vehicle, but I'm pinned in. And I mentioned it to the mayor, and I really didn't see, and I know you just started and you had your plate full. This is not to pick on anybody here. I'm just saying that when you pin somebody in, I don't think that that's Hoyle. You do know what that means. Okay. I'm old, so I use a lot of old jargon.
I'll follow up with you.
Yeah. There's a document called the Constitution. I'm sure you know it.
Okay,
And
I hate to interrupt, but your 3 minutes are up. As soon as this is over, let's talk outside.
I have something urgent that I have to take care of, so I can't stay.
Okay.
But when you have some time, and you live on Arrow, correct? Is there a time when I could come by and we could go for coffee?
I'll reach out to you. We can do that. I got your number and I'll give you a shout and we'll see
Yeah.
if we can't get these things
All right.
addressed.
Sorry I took so much of your time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Sorry, I had spasm in my neck.
Anyone else at this time would like to talk? Seeing anybody else? Nobody else? Huh? You said Gavin. Eagles fan? All right, moving on down to ordinances. Ms. Lewis, would you, give a second reading by title only?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Marshall, Missouri to execute an agreement between the city of Marshall, Missouri and the Marshall Municipal Band.
I need a motion and a second to approve that.
Second, Patrick.
Ms. Lewis, could I have a roll call, please?
Paprick,
Yes.
Gibson,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Swisher,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Simmons,
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ordinance number 2, could you read that by title only?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Marshall, Missouri to execute a contract between the city of Marshall and the Marshall Philharmonic Orchestra for the provision of concerts in the city of Marshall.
Need a motion and a second to approve that.
I move to approve.
Second, Green.
I think you got it.
I got it. I was closer to my mic.
Ms. Lewis, may I have a roll call, please?
Gibson,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Swisher,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Simmons,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Paprick.
Yes.
Ordinance number 3, could you read that by title only?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Marshall, Missouri to execute a contract between the city of Marshall and the Marshall Community Chorus for the provision of concerts in the city of Marshall.
I need a motion and a second to approve.
Motion to approve is submitted, Green.
Second, Patrick.
I have a roll call.
Fox,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Swisher,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Simmons,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Paprick,
Yes.
Gibson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ordinance number 4.
An ordinance of the City Council for the City of Marshall, Missouri, approving and authorizing the Marshall Municipal Utilities to grant perpetual utility easements to the Missouri Joint Municipal Electric Utility Commission, DBA Missouri Electric Commission, and authorizing the Marshall Municipal Utilities General Manager to execute the easements and provide for an effective date.
Tommy, would you like to sing?
Are these the ones you talked about in the board meeting on Tuesday? You guys talked about coming to council for, is that something?
That's something different.
Okay. But this is just part of that whole project out there?
Yep.
Okay.
I make a motion we approve.
Second, Gibson.
I have a roll call.
Allen,
Yes.
Swisher,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Simmons,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Paprick,
Yes.
Gibson,
Yes.
Fox.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ordinance number 5.
An ordinance of the City Council for the City of Marshall, Missouri, approving and authorizing the Marshall Municipal Utilities to grant an assignment of a utility easement to the Missouri Joint Municipal Electric Utility Commission, DBA Missouri Electric Commission, and authorizing the Marshall Municipal Utilities General Manager to execute the assignment of the utility easement and provide for an effective date.
I need a motion and a second to approve that.
I move to approve.
Second, Allen.
I have a roll call vote.
Swisher,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Simmons,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Paprick,
Yes.
Gibson,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Thank you.
That was 6, wasn't it?
That was number 5. I
Oh,
think.
I'm sorry. Can you read number 6, please?
An ordinance of the City Council for the City of Marshall, Missouri, approving and authorizing the Marshall Municipal Utilities to enter into a land use memorandum of understanding between the City of Marshall, Missouri, the Marshall Municipal Utilities, and the Missouri Joint Municipal Electric Utility Commission, DBA Missouri Electric Commission, and authorizing the Marshall Municipal Utilities General Manager to execute the memorandum of understanding and provide for an effective date.
I need a motion and a second to approve.
Is this the one? Is this the one that we're talking about in the board? Okay.
That was a contract, it'll probably come here in the next
Okay.
couple meetings. Yeah,
Okay.
for the new admin building.
Right, okay. Second, Green.
Have a roll call, please.
Green,
Yes.
Paprick,
Yes.
Gibson,
Yes.
Fox.
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Swisher,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Simmons.
Yes.
Thank you.
On to appropriation. Ms. Lewis, could you give the first reading by title only?
An ordinance making the appropriation for the payment of accounts out of the different city funds.
I need a motion and a second to take to a second reading.
I move to take it to second reading.
Second, Green.
I have a roll call vote.
Paprick,
Yes.
Gibson,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Swisher,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Simmons,
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
Ms. Lewis, could you go to the second reading by title only?
An ordinance making the appropriation for the payment of accounts out of the different city funds.
I need a motion and a second to approve that.
I make a motion we approve.
Second, Paprick.
I have a roll call.
Gibson,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Swisher,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Simmons,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Paprick.
Yes.
At this time, is there any other council business that we need to discuss?
I wanted to bring something up, and this may be a question for JD, or I don't know if this is us or the park, but I would like to make a suggestion that we put speed humps at various places on the road that goes through the park to try to encourage drivers to follow the speed limit. I know the police don't have enough time to, I mean, they got better things to do probably than sit there and, try to clock people all the time. This would ensure that people drive safely. It's an issue with pedestrians, and I think this would be cheaper than building a sidewalk next to the road. But anyway, how does that, I mean, is that a park thing or is that a city thing?
I'm sorry, which location were you? did you-
In the park, okay, the
Oh,
road that
in the
goes,
park, yeah.
especially like past the pool, where people tend to go like 45 sometimes. I mean, I'm not exaggerating at
Yeah.
all, and it's very
I
common.
believe we have a couple of speed humps at a few locations in there, but you're talking about specifically that main road that, where you enter in by the office and go by the playground and then kind of around to the pool.
Well, I was talking, I mean, more down past that, you know, the one where you go down the hill and up to the Statue of Liberty. That's where most of the speeding tends to take place.
None there. Yeah, I'll talk with the Parks Director, and he can talk with his board. We will need to find out if there's any conflict with any of our other codes or street specs, but because those are internal to the park, I think that probably a good place to start would be with the Parks Director, and I'm happy to have that conversation,
Oh,
and
thank
we'll report back to you.
What about the Eastwood project? What's the deal on that?
I think we're getting pretty close, right, JD, on that, getting the final things touched up on it, and Elizabeth.
Yeah, what will happen is, the next step, we'll signal to the school that we've accepted the site. There was a couple of issues with washouts and that were noted in that last rain. But I believe there's no more outstanding grade, you know, like demo type work or any foundation to be removed or anything like that. Once we signal to the school that we are ready to accept the site, they've got a process they can follow that was articulated in the contract, in the sales contract that we made when we sold them that Hab Center ground.
So what about the fences that are still out there? Those kind of need to be removed.
The fences, they can stay or we can remove them. If they weren't part of the original scope of the demo, then they probably stayed. I had a conversation with the superintendent early on, and I don't recall about the disposition of the fences. We were primarily focused on capping the sewers, foundation work, things of that nature, but I can certainly find out whether that was part of the
Yeah,
scope.
there are two fences that probably need to be gone. They're in pretty bad shape.
And those were the fences that had surrounded the playground previously?
Playground,
Okay.
they're in front.
Okay.
They need to be removed.
We have not yet indicated that we're going to accept the site, so we will look into that matter prior to doing so. In any event, though, to answer the rest of your question, once the school has initiated that process, there shouldn't be any more work for the council to do, because you all already set forth that action in the original sales agreement. So my guess would be that the city attorney would just work with the school and the title company to finalize the transfer. But I'll address the fence issue prior.
I'll bring one other thing up. The Amari Lake, while I completely understand that you don't want vehicles going all the way around the lake, it would be great if pedestrians could. And, you know, all that would take is just you don't have to open the gate or anything, just remove the sign that says you will be prosecuted if you go over here. But, you know, being able to walk around that lake, I think, would be a huge benefit for the community.
If I might say something while I'm thinking about this. So
Yeah.
get through. I mean, y'all are bringing up good points and stuff like that. It's probably, a lot of this stuff should be discussed in like your committees, am I right? Which brings up another thing. I mean, we got 4 or 5 committees now. And then I think with enough stuff that's going on in our town, everybody, there should not be no reason why we don't have a report coming from everybody. I just wanna bring that up, and that's the same with me. I know I need to do a little bit better as far as, having a report. But I think now's the time that we start working together, start working on all these projects that we got within the committees. And a couple other things I'd like to see, and I know Anna Marie's been working on it, is getting out like the park board minutes. Y'all do a good job with your minutes and trying to get all that stuff where everybody can see them. I just wanted to throw that out there, but that's something that we're gonna start working on within the next couple weeks, sooner than later. And there's a lot of stuff we need to start working on. So I just wanna put that out there. But a lot of that stuff should be discussed in committee reports. I brought it to the committee and worked on it as a team. Just my little 2 cents, I wanted to throw that out. Cliff, you got anything?
Not anymore. Mine might be for Parks and Rec. I don't know. I talked to JD about it a while ago, but if you go onto Google Maps and you go out to the park, it says Missouri Valley softball field and Missouri Valley baseball field when you zoom in. I don't know how, if you petition Google or talk to Parks and Rec to get it changed, but, you know, I think it's kind of pretty bad sight when we own all that and somebody put Missouri Valley's names on those, but it's the city's rec. It's the recreation for the city. It's not Missouri Valley's fields. Lots of people use them. So I know it's been a while since we talked about it, but when Jim brought that up, it sparked my memory again. If we can either talk to Parks and Rec or Google or somebody and get it named appropriately.
Yeah, there was some staff work on that after it came up last time. I don't have all the results on that, but yeah, it looked like somebody apparently tagged that location for practices or something, and now that's what all the public sees.
Yeah.
So I'll get some information together and follow up with that item as well.
Okay.
Perfect. Anything you need to discuss? No. Solution? Dan?
Everybody's answer is we'll follow up in committee. Thanks, Mayor.
Seriously. Let's get to these committees.
Dan, we do need a meeting, by the way, though. We forgot to talk about that.
Anything else? Are we good?
Think so.
All right, next one is adjourn. I need a motion and a second to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, Green?
Second, Patrick.
Oh, Johnny.
Oh, sorry,
Johnny said.
sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned.
I expected it to be early.
I know.